Hello and welcome to a special edition of the State of the Fleet Industry video series produced by Automotive Fleet Magazine. This video series is designed to put a spotlight on key leaders in the fleet management industry. And today I have the honor to interview Dain Giesie, Assistant Vice President of Business Development for Enterprise Fleet Management. And today we're going to talk about some of the top trends that Dain sees in the fleet management industry. So with that as an introduction, thank you, Dain, for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Mike.
Yeah, you're quite welcome. So let's go into this. Obviously, we're currently in a pandemic that's on everybody's mind. It's preoccupied all of the things that it seems like we do in both our business and personal lives. But ultimately, we're going to exit from this pandemic. I mean, obviously, it's gone on much longer than any of us anticipated, but there will be a post-COVID period. And I know a lot of companies have been strategizing on how to handle the recovery, how to manage growth in that post-COVID period. And I know one of the companies is your own company, Enterprise Fleet Management. So with that as a background and your pre-existing experience in this area, to help viewers, what do you see as the biggest short and midterm challenges facing fleets as they strategize about a post-COVID market environment?
Yeah, that's a great question, Mike. And I think certainly we're all looking forward to a post-COVID world. Aside from employee safety and customer safety that everyone is thinking about, the biggest challenge that fleets are going to face as they look forward to restoring their business and a growth period is product availability. COVID's had such a disruption throughout the supply chain that it's had a huge impact on production levels. And extended order delivery times and early production cutoffs mean that fleets are going to have to think really strategically to ensure they've got the right plan to meet the demands of their business.
And have that as an ongoing strategy going into the future, because it's not just COVID. What's kind of compounded the issues in this time frame is we have some really exciting new product coming up, and there's early order cutoffs in order to make room for those new products. But what are some of the other challenges that you see companies facing in this environment?
Well, I think, it's specific to their fleet. Again, the challenges are going to be having the right amount of vehicles and to be able to capture growth opportunities and continue to service their customers. So understanding their fleet needs and will allow decision makers a better way to plan for the new reality of the world and also minimize disruption. They're going to have
Hmm.
to be creative and think outside the box, and that's going to drive new and innovative solutions.
Yeah, I agree, and you hit on a good point there. Is thinking out of the box, because a corollary with a utilization is making sure that you have the right size fleet. And sometimes I think fleet managers make or some people make the erroneous supposition that right sizing means downsizing. It doesn't necessarily mean that. It just means that you're utilizing the right vehicle for the right application. And I'm wondering if you might be able to strategize about that a bit, and some of the innovative ways to handle up fleeting and down fleeting. By nature of your own company with the enterprise truck rentals or enterprise rent a car, that gives you an opportunity to go up and down during peak periods. But what are these challenges, and what are some creative ways on handling this utilization?
Ultimately, operators are going to need a proactive plan to maximize vehicle uptime and efficiency. And that may mean looking at vehicles that they haven't looked at before to do the job, or they may reimagine what the job of their employees are so that they can, and they can design and tailor their fleet to meet that. I think, some of these plans and some of these strategies are being accomplished through a combination of operational changes, as we discussed, and also through new
Hmm.
technology. But regardless of the plan, in today's fluid environment, it's going to be critical that they have a supplemental plan that's flexible enough to fill any gaps for their short-term needs or growth. They don't want to miss an opportunity to capture a new customer or to grow in a specific market because they don't have the resources to do it.
Hmm. And now's the time to do it. I mean, just to use an analogy, you want to be doing your planning now, not when the plane's going down the runway, getting ready to take off.
Yeah, they'll just be with the shortage, dealer stock shortage, and again, going back to the difficulty to get vehicles, there'll be no way to respond to those through traditional methods.
Hmm.
And, and so that's why it's important to have, we think every mile that a fleet drives should fall into one of four buckets. Should you buy it? Should you lease it? Should you rent it?
Hmm.
Should you should you share it / reimburse it? And if you're
Right.
looking at all of your vehicle needs within those four buckets, then you can keep your fleet flexible and you can respond to the demands of the market.
Hmm. Yeah, I totally agree. Let's examine some of the other big trends that may be emerging out of here, and I'll kind of interject a personal opinion, like to get your take on that also. But I see one of the big changes that this pandemic is bringing about, and I think the pandemic is going to, once we emerge from it, things will probably be more the same than we anticipate. But I think there's going to be some fundamental changes. And the fundamental change deals with this whole work from home environment and remote working. And I know many companies are looking at this. Enterprise is one. But that's going to have a dramatic impact on utilization, on right sizing, on how many vehicles you have. And what are your thoughts on the impact of the work from home business model that seems to be emerging?
Yeah, I think that and we believe that some degree of it, employee choice and flexibility will be here to stay. For enterprise, engagement is top of mind for us. It's so important that we remain connected to our customers and our employees while we ensure their health and safety. But like everyone, that's requiring us to think in new ways. A virtual world very well could mean less driving, but having more drivers primarily based at home could also help open new opportunities and open new doors, say through EV adoption because of charging networks at home now. We think it'll be years before anybody really knows the answer to this question, but it'll be fun to be part of it.
Right. And you shouldn't always just look at it from a negative perspective. I mean, as you cited there are positive aspects to it. I mean, this work from home business model might very well accelerate EV adoption because it kind of solves one of the problems there, that infrastructure issue dealing with home charging or recharging of vehicles. And home charging is a good way to solve that problem.
That's right. And necessity dictates innovation in a lot of cases, and with so many employees working from home and still trying to stay engaged with their employers and their customers, I think we're going to see some interesting opportunities, and we're excited about it.
Very interesting conversation. I think we've kind of reached our allotted time now, Dain. And like to thank you for joining us for this conversation. There's a lot more that we could talk about. I think we just scratched the surface, but I'd like to thank you again for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Mike. We really appreciate the support.